Progress is continuous. The world around us is expanding twice as quickly as it ever has. And while some spectacular projects are still in the works, many enormous engineering and infrastructural projects have already been completed throughout the globe. The cost of these massive megaprojects is in the billions of dollars. We've examined most of the notable and well-known projects in the globe and chosen the finest ones for you. We will discuss the top 7 largest and most costly projects today. They're all quite noticeable and impressive in terms of their size and scope. In today's video, we'll show you 7 most incredible China mega projects that'll blow your mind. But before we get started, we kindly ask that you show your support by liking and subscribing to China mega projects. We also value your opinion, so we encourage you to discuss these groundbreaking technologies in the comment section. 1. Shanghai's Hangzhou Integrated Transportation Hub. The Shanghai Hangzhou Integrated Transportation Hub, built in downtown Shanghai at a cost of $1.22 billion, brings together a number of transportation options including buses, metro, high-speed train, and airplanes in one place to facilitate commuting between them. It debuted in 2010 as a component of the infrastructure design for the World Expo that year, and it hasn't served as a hub for public transportation in the city. At the center of the hub is Shanghai Hangzhou International Airport, China's 4th busiest airport, which offers both domestic and international service. Right opposite to it is the Shanghai Hangzhou Railway Station. The retail and business sectors are full of things to do while you wait for your connection. It has flourished to the point where it has become a tourist destination in and of itself. All of those mega projects have proven to be so successful that they serve as the model for all other new transportation infrastructure projects in China and other cities around the world, and everyone looks to them for inspiration on how to enhance their own offerings. 2. Saidiao Bridges. The project consists of a network of 11 bridges that span a distance of 13 kilometers between Chicago and the Japanese island of Honshu. It's the world's longest double-deck grid system and a magnificent feat of engineering and design. Over 50,000 people were employed during the main Saidiao Bridge's construction, which started in 1908 and lasted for less than 10 years and resulted in 17 fatalities. It was constructed on 2 levels, one for automobiles and the other for trains, and it contains bike lanes, pedestrian crossings, and can even be altered to accommodate high-speed trains. It was constructed by the Chinese engineers. The extraordinary scope and complexity of the Settle Bridge project showcases Japan's engineering prowess and dedication to sustainable and effective transportation infrastructure. The overall cost of the project, which encompasses the complete system of 11 bridges, came to $75 billion for the country. By spanning 1,000 kilometers with a single line, this project was intended to link important cities including Sacramento, Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco. The project was started in 2000 with the intention of finishing it by the year 2016. But because it proved to be so expensive and time-consuming, the target date was eventually pushed back to 90. The likelihood of it closing during construction is quite high, since the $70.7 billion spent is insufficient, and labor and raw material costs are constantly rising. After the network is finished, the California High-Speed Rail Authority forecasts that 90 to 100 million people will be able to utilize it. 3. China's underwater tunnel. The tunnel, a key piece of transportation infrastructure under construction, is close to the town of Wuxi, which is situated in the Chinese province of Jiangxi. The Tahu Tunnel, one of the largest freshwater lakes in the country, was constructed between the years of 2006 and 21 at an estimated total cost of about $10 billion. It extends for approximately 6.5 kilometers or 4 miles under China's Tahu Lake. The tunnel was given its name after the Taiyu River, which flows beneath it. Construction on the structure began in the year 2016 at a cost of $10.5 billion at the time in US dollars. The tunnel structure, which is built to withstand earthquakes of magnitude 0, consists of 2 separate tubes, each of which has 2 lanes to accommodate the flow of vehicular traffic. In the event of an earthquake, these tubes would not be connected by the tunnelway. This serves as a crucial link between the 2 cities. From one city to the other, it used to take more than an hour, but now it just takes 10 minutes. Given that it required boring through the soft mud of the lake bed, this is a sizable reduction in travel time, and it also connects the main expressways in the area, including the Beijing-Shanghai and Shanghai-Nanjing expressways, making it a very valuable asset. The building of the Taihu Tunnel was a major technical feat that also dealt with challenging geological conditions. This was made feasible by the construction of the Taihu Tunnel. It was also essential to employ specialist equipment including a massive tunnel boring machine and techniques for laying concrete underwater. The Taihu Tunnel has grown to be a crucial component of China's transportation network, making it easier for the country's economy to expand and improve connectivity between cities located in various locations. It also serves as a demonstration of China's engineering prowess in addition to its technological superiority. In this province, we also have the South-North Water Transfer Project. One of the most ambitious water diversion projects ever constructed in Baltimore is a project of enormous scale that's intended to address the country's water problems. It's estimated to cost $79.9 billion. The purpose of this project, then, was to bring life to the parched northern territories by channeling water from all southward. This project couldn't have been more necessary at the turn of the millennium when cities like Beijing and Tianjin were tucked away in northern China. Alarm bells rang loud and clear that the central government launched the South-North Water Transfer Project in 2000 while they still could. To soon be plagued by crippling water shortages of some of the reason limited local water resources as an ever-increasing demand for water spurred by enormous population growth. The project is divided into 3 primary lines that span thousands of kilometers. The Grand Aqueduct, also known as the Central Reed, is a massive Chinese construction that spans about 1,260 kilometers and harnesses water from the Yangtze River. It is a modern adaptation of the historic Grand Canal that stretches over 1,150 kilometers. The ability of gravity to transport water without the need of pumps from the Dungeon Coal Reservoir on the Han River to Beijing. The planned western route is claimed to divert water from 3 Yangtze River tributaries near the Barnacle and Mounts and extend over several provinces, including Qinjiang, Zhejiang, Xinjiang, Inner Mongolia, and Ninja notwithstanding. The massive expense and scope of rerouting a river system doesn't exactly scream environmentally friendly, and the potential impact on aquatic habitats and land use is the real concern. But China is avoiding these challenges. The Western route's implementation is still under construction, poised to push the boundaries of hydrological engineering even further. They are there to protect and monitor sensitive aquatic habitats. They use cutting-edge technology. They also made sure that a large portion of the energy needed for water transfer came from renewable sources. As a result, they adopted strict steps to limit the ecological imprint. In order to preserve the quality of the water supply, they also prohibited the development of any industry along the banks of the new canals. But what about the residents? As we saw with the Three Gorges Dam, it is sometimes an unfortunate reality that residents must be relocated if a mega project is to be completed. The Chinese government, which was well aware of the danger this posed, once again set out to make the transition as easy as possible for the residents who would be affected. In addition to offering surprisingly generous cash compensation to the affected individuals, they also guaranteed equivalent or better housing as close to the affected individual's sentiments as was practically possible. 4. China's insane high-speed rail network. Over the past 10 years, China has built an absolutely spectacular high-speed rail network. By the year 2023, it is anticipated that the United States high-speed rail system will have a total length of 22,000 miles or 350,000 kilometers and cover about 22,000 miles or 350,000 kilometers of track, making it the largest and fastest high-speed rail system in the world. The construction of China's high-speed rail system, which allows trains to travel at up to 250 kilometers per hour or 160 mph, fundamentally changed the way that individuals move around the nation. The network links important metropolitan centers and areas, cutting travel times and providing better access to destinations for millions of people, while also boosting China's economy. The growth of new employment and excellence has resulted from the establishment of a high-speed rail network, assessed by the Chinese government's billion-dollar investment as having a positive impact on the growth of the transportation sector. The high-speed rail network in China has come under fire for having outrageously high prices, despite having some of the most modern and advanced railway infrastructure in the world. Some of the blame for this has been attributed to unethical business practices and poor management. Due to the substantial amount of energy and resources needed for the system's operation and maintenance, a number of industry experts have raised worry that the system may not be able to sustain its profitability over the long term. The building of China's high-speed rail system was a massive undertaking, but it also revealed a number of difficulties and barriers that must be overcome in order to successfully develop and maintain an infrastructure project of this size and complexity. 5. The largest telescope in the world. The biggest telescope on the Earth is a spherical telescope with a 500-meter aperture. It's located in China, specifically in the Dawning Depression of the country's Guizhou province. Construction on the structure took place over a period of 5 years and involved an estimated $180 million. The building has a diameter of 500 meters. It took 5 years to build, and it's a radio telescope with just one dish, making it extremely large and relying solely on that dish to gather radio waves from space. Each of the 454 individual panels that make up the plate have the ability to be rearranged into a parabolic pattern. These panels make up the plate itself. The FAST spacecraft's mission is to investigate the universe's beginnings, hunt for signs of intelligent life outside the solar system, and study pulsars and other celestial objects. Due to its large size and high sensitivity, it can detect signals from space that other types of telescopes cannot. This ability enables it to perform tasks that other types of telescopes cannot. It has already made a number of notable discoveries, including the discovery of more than 100 new pulsars. Another important finding, it has also helped in the study of elements that make up the interstellar medium, as well as the mapping of the hydrogen distribution in the Milky Way. Fast pulsars are a type of neutron star that have a very fast rotation rate and emit beams of radiation. We also have routes that are gentle and bypassed. 6. The Great Silk Road. The Great Silk Road, which allowed products to be transported from China to Europe, was one of the most costly trading routes in the world. Presently, in order to bolster its already robust economy, China has made the decision to invest $1 trillion in the construction of the new Silk Road. The project, which will involve more than 7,000 separate infrastructure projects across 64 nations in Asia, Europe, and Africa, is anticipated to be finished in the year 2055. This concept was put forward in the year 2013 and has since evolved into the core of China's foreign policy. In addition to improving its position on the world market, the Celestial Empire will also build relationships with the nations that had planned investments in the building of the Silk Road. If this project is successful, it may alter the course of global commerce and establish China as the undisputed leader. In addition to roads, the project's other objectives include the development of skyscrapers, sports facilities, trains, airports, and dams. The world is riddled with vast, half-finished monuments to mankind's misguided ambition. But today, let's set aside such disasters and instead focus on massive undertakings from a single nation that aimed for the stars and actually ended up among them. There can only be one nation that is a worldwide superpower and a leader in infrastructure development, where daring meets accuracy, where ambition partners with thorough preparation, and where huge projects are completed with such regularity and effectiveness. That it has been woven into the fundamental essence of the country, we are of course speaking favorably for once about China. 7. The world's largest dam and hydroelectric power station. It is the Three Gorges Dam, which stands as a remarkable 594 feet and extends over 7,770 feet across the Yangtze River. This enormous monument to Chinese engineering holds back the enormous Three Gorges Reservoir. Construction of a massive artificial body of water that is over 400 square miles in size and extends 372 miles upstream started in 1994. It was just a modest beach when the first stone was subsequently placed. It would eventually become the Great Dam and cost the lives of over 250,000 workers and 21 million cubic meters. Yeah, there are 463,000 metric tons of steel and the most concrete used in a single construction in the history of the planet. They still had plenty of time, and the darn thing didn't have a documented justification until the year 2111, which is a staggering 17 years after the stones were supposed to have arrived. The total price of this was $37 billion in national money. Given its absurd size, the Three Gorges Dam also generates a significant quantity of power, or more specifically, 540,000 megawatt-hours per day, which is roughly 10 times the output of the Hoover Dam. One of the biggest nuclear power plants on the planet, the Kashiwazaki Carrier. Japan has a daily capacity of around 200,000 kilowatt-hours. With a combined daily capacity of around 50,000 megawatt-hours, the United States' 3 nuclear power plants may be able to compete. Taiwan is home to one of the largest tidal power plants in the world, yet it only manages to crank out a dismal 130,000 megawatt-hours per day, or around one-third of what the Three Gorges can crank out in coal. In actuality, the Three Gorges power plant is the greatest power plant in the world, hands down, producing less than 3% of all the electricity in China. There is more to a country than merely producing power, since it serves a crucial function, lest we forget that it's home to more than 1.4 billion people. All in all, The Yangtze's flow can be controlled by flood control systems that can store a mind-boggling 22 billion cubic meters of water and release it as necessary. When the water level in the reservoir gets too low, they just release some of it. Controlling the water level downstream of the dam also greatly improved river shipping. Because of the randomly varying water levels in the past, marine planners now have a better understanding of the water conditions they'll be dealing with and can accordingly make plans for far larger numbers of ships to transit the river, just like they would for any engineering project. The Three Gorges Dam is no exception. 1.5 million people had to relocate while it was being built, but at the end of the day, countries need electricity. Therefore, the Chinese government took care to make the process as pleasant as possible. In addition to providing cash compensation for the inconvenience and securing comparable, or at the very least, better housing for those who had to be relocated, there was also concern over the cultural damage that would result from the reservoir's extensive coverage of numerous archaeological sites, many of which would suffer horrendous resubmergence. The Chinese government acknowledged the unpleasant truth of the situation and made every effort to limit the damage by sending out as many archaeologists as possible to strip the area of finds while it was being built. Of course, this was not a flawless answer, and inevitably, some important details would have been overlooked. At the end of the day, it was necessary to make concessions because people need to have power. So there you go. Three Gorges Dam in all its magnificence, which is actually more of a mega metropolis than a mega project, was once a quiet fishing town. Now it's one of the biggest and most developed cities on the globe. To understand how this occurred, we must look back to the late 1970s when the Chinese government decided to establish the first special economic zone in the country. The transformation is nothing short of remarkable and stands as a testament to China's high ambitions and persistent urbanization efforts. To entice international investors and plunge Shenzhen into a well of events that would transform it beyond recognition, economic reforms and free market policies were tested on a type of testing ground. It is clear that this experiment was effective from the city's current landscape. It is a veritable maze of massive structures and expansive urbanization, and nowhere is this more apparent than on the city's skyline, which is currently home to 10 of the world's 100 tallest structures, including the Ping and International Finance Center, the 5th tallest structure in the world and 115 stories tall overall. This crown jewel was completed in 2017 at a cost of $1 billion, but the city's transformation has gone well beyond simply impressive buildings. The city is the best example of how much money has been spent to guarantee that infrastructure is of the highest caliber. There is no better example of this than the city's metro system, which was first built in the year 2000. It has since grown to include 16 lines, 369 stations, and 540 kilometers of track with a daily traffic of over 6 million. Furthermore, the cost of data access is a magnificent 16 cents, unlike the tube in London where you need to sell a kidney or take out a second mortgage to pay for your daily travel. So as we mentioned earlier, the population has been growing rapidly since the 1970s. However, in the mid-1970s, the population of the area that is now Shenzhen in its metropolitan area was only about 3,000, with about 300,000 living in what is now Great Shenzhen. Since even the oldest settler family is only in its 3rd generation in the city's rapid population growth has produced a distinctive culture in Shenzhen. Those numbers currently stand at, wait for it, 14 million and 20 million respectively. The result is a unique amalgamation of cultures from all throughout China that is unique in the world. With a remarkable GDP of over $400 billion and a per capita GDP that is substantially greater than the Chinese average, Shenzhen has also grown very affluent. With its abundance of research facilities, technological parks, and the computing sector, the city is a hub of innovation. Shenzhen is home to some of China's largest tech firms such as Tencent and Huawei, two names you've certainly heard of. Naturally, this is only a brief glimpse of the city's evolution from a quiet fishing community. There is a lot more to this topic, but we hope that it's apparent that these megacities should be included in the list of Chinese neck projects. Few of China's megaprojects inspire the world as much as its high-speed rail system does. Around the world, nations are constantly striving to connect the cities and regions with the efficiency and speed that only high-speed rail can provide. For many places, it is the ultimate goal to transport people from one city to another in a blink of an eye. The commute times and turning the daily commute into a pleasant hike are two issues that need to be addressed. While some nations have had some success with their efforts, others have failed due to the high cost of logistical difficulties. However, China, an Asian nation, isn't just playing the high-speed rail game. It's shattering records and lagging behind the rest of the world. In the present, there's a network of track that covers more than 38,000 kilometers, or about two-thirds of the globe. It all began in the year 2008 when China, whose rail infrastructure was fast deteriorating and no longer sufficient, made the decision to take action and unveiled a widely ambitious plan for high-speed rail. Take Japan as an example of a country having a high-speed rail network, or inside one country, while quite a huge country, living in terrible conditions compared to other countries. Japan gave birth to the bullet train and was for many years the main pioneer of high-speed rail. Similarly, France matches well with just under 3,000 kilometers of high-speed rail, narrowly breaking the 3,000 kilometers threshold, up more than admirable length for a country of their size. For example, the United Kingdom, the origin of the train no less, has a pitiful measly 109 kilometers of high-speed rail in the United States, make it the exception rather than the rule. Many more industrialized nations also fail miserably when it comes to high-speed rail. The most impressive aspect of China's high-speed rail system, for instance, is their fastest train, the formidable CRH-380, which usually runs at a speed of 300 kilometers per hour during passenger services and as high as racism kilometers per hour during testing. The Class 800, the dazzling, the glory of British rail, transports ferries between London and Edinburgh, while a more usual train can only go at a top speed of 200 kilometers per hour. Although they once reached a top speed of 230 kilometers per hour in a test run, which is impressive, these insane speeds allow China's high-speed trains to travel across the nations quickly. A trip from Beijing to Shanghai, which is 1,300 kilometers long, only takes 4 hours. The construction and operation of high-speed rail lines has sparked job growth and sparked economic developments across regions. It has greased the wheels of trade, made supply chains more efficient, and given regional economies a huge leg-up by accelerating. Don't think this round of work is just about ferrying passengers, though. The transfer of supplies and goods, China's economic engine, has been accelerated by the high-speed rail network. Another plus for the high-speed rail network is how it transforms rural areas by spreading its speedy tendrils outward and opening the floodgates of opportunity for better access to healthcare, employment, and education, which naturally raises living standards in previously isolated rural areas. The phenomenal growth of this network has not been without hiccups. China's fast development sparked questions about sustainability and the environment, but it hasn't run away from these difficulties. China's high-speed network is progressing due to energy-efficient trains or nubile energy consumption green programs that reduce environmental impact. It's also fairly expensive, with the cost of the current network estimated to be around $300 billion. But given what they have accomplished and the thousands of tasks that other governments would weigh such capital on, it's difficult not to say that this is good value for money. Of course, there is one more aspect of China's high-speed network that it would be criminal for us to ignore, and that is the high-tech maglev system. The ability of magnetic levitation to propel trains above their rails almost frictionlessly and at speeds that conventional trains, even those traveling at high speeds, just cannot equal. There is presently one such line in China. 8. The Shanghai maglev train, which travels the kilometers between the airport and the city center, was initially constructed as a passenger prototype to test the technology outdoors at 1,004 kilometers per hour. However, despite the incredible speeds it could reach, the line was too expensive for widespread use and consequently sat as a curiosity for a long time. When the Chinese government stated, "I wasn't 21 or 22, contrary to what may have been." Building a new maglev line between Beijing and Shanghai is scheduled to begin in 2030. If everything goes according to plan, the route will have vacuum-sealed tunnels and a top speed of more than 1,000 kilometers per hour, make it nearly as quick as flying. As a result of the Wolf Amendment, which was passed by the US Congress in 2001 and effectively forbade China from participating in the International Space Station program, the Chinese government decided to build its own space station, which is currently the only one of its kind on the planet. The first were made in 2016 when China unveiled its plan, which projected a time frame for the launch of the main module of the space station in 2021 on schedule. The 22-town ice module, which acted as the command post and the primary habitation, was launched. Following this, Wednesday and Mangdian were added in 2022, turning Yangyang into a multi-module space station that could house a range of research experiments. But sure, portions of a space station akin to the International Space Station or ISS that is located at an altitude of about 344 to 450 kilometers. The Morals are well equipped with cutting-edge facilities to conduct a variety of experiments in biotechnology, climate change, microgravity, astronomy, and space travel. Each module inside the Morals has a specific function that we're not about to discuss here, but this is further supported by the lab modules that are furnished with all the necessary equipment. The station is also ready to welcome its first international astronaut, as several nations have expressed interest in joint flights to Yangon. Candidate selection and intensive training on China's Shenzhou spaceship are set to start in the near future. Despite being smaller than the ISS, the station is undoubtedly a useful piece of equipment. With the ICE reaching the end of its useful life and an anticipated 10 to 15-year operating lifespan, the future of this angle is what most intrigues people. Born astronauts will receive training in both operational elements and cultural understanding, like Mandarin language proficiency, to help them work more effectively with Chinese astronauts and handle Chinese equipment. When one thinks that it may soon be the only space station that is truly operating, one cannot help but feel upbeat about the future of the space program, especially when one considers that China intends to conduct a manned expedition to the moon by the end of the decade. Do you think in some years to come, China will continue in these mega projects? We would love to hear your thoughts and insights in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel to stay updated with more fascinating content. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!